Have you ever wondered what you would do if there was no food, no shelter, and the temperature outside dropped to minus 40 degrees? Imagine this. 3 days have passed. Your family hasn't eaten a single meal. Your children are too weak to cry. The cold burns your skin. And if you don't find food today, there may not be a tomorrow. This wasn't a nightmare. This was real life for humans. Nearly 20,000 years ago, the world was trapped in the last ice age. Massive glaciers covered the land. Forests disappeared. Animals became harder to find. And every sunrise was another fight to stay alive. There were no farms, no supermarkets, no hospitals, no warm houses, only endless snow, freezing winds, and one terrifying question: who will survive? For our ancestors, hunger was far more frightening than the cold itself. A single successful hunt could feed an entire tribe, but one failed hunt could mean starvation for everyone. And that's exactly why ancient humans began doing things that seem almost unimaginable today. They didn't waste anything, not the meat, not the skin, not the bones, not even the fat. Every part of an animal meant another chance to survive. But, as you'll soon discover, the darkest chapter of Ice Age survival had only just begun. But surviving the Ice Age was never just about fighting the cold. The real enemy was hunger. Back then, a hunt wasn't just another meal. It was the difference between life and death. Some hunts lasted for days. Hunters walked across frozen rivers, through deep snow, following the tracks of giant animals. And sometimes, after days of searching, they came back with nothing. For the tribe, that meant another night with empty stomachs. That's why, when a mammoth or a giant bison finally fell, the celebration didn't begin with the meat, it began with the fat. Today, many people think of animal fat as something unhealthy, but during the Ice Age, fat was priceless. It contained more energy than almost any other food our ancestors could find. It kept their bodies warm. It gave them strength to travel farther, hunt longer, and survive. The freezing winter, even the bones, were never thrown away. They were carefully broken open. To reach the rich bone marrow hidden inside, nothing was wasted. Not because they wanted to, because they couldn't afford to. Every bite, every drop of fat, every piece of marrow could mean one more day alive. But sometimes, even that wasn't enough. And when the food disappeared completely, some human groups were forced into choices that still shock archaeologists today. The darkest chapter was about to begin. But could things really become that desperate? The answer is yes. Archaeologists have uncovered ancient caves across Europe containing human bones marked with the same cut marks found on hunted animals. Some bones had been deliberately broken to reach the nutrient-rich marrow inside. These discoveries suggest that, during extreme periods of starvation, some human groups may have turned to cannibalism as a last resort. But it's important to understand one thing. This was not normal human behavior. It wasn't a tradition. It wasn't a way of life. It was a desperate response to unimaginable circumstances. Imagine living for weeks without a successful hunt, your children growing weaker every day, the elderly unable to walk, the freezing wind never stopping, and every morning wondering if anyone in your tribe would survive to see another sunrise. The Ice Age didn't just test the human body, it tested the human mind. Every decision could save a life or end one, yet somehow, despite all the hunger, the freezing cold, and impossible choices, humans refused to give up, and that determination would eventually become our greatest strength. Because the real reason humans survived the Ice Age wasn't just intelligence, it was something even more powerful. And that's where the final chapter of our story begins. But here's the most incredible part. If the Ice Age was so brutal, why are we still here while creatures like mammoths, woolly rhinos, and saber-toothed cats disappeared forever? The answer was never brute strength. It was our ability to work together. When one hunter failed, another stepped in. When someone was injured, the tribe didn't leave them behind. In fact, archaeologists have discovered ancient human skeletons with serious broken bones that had completely healed, which means someone fed them, protected them, and cared for them for weeks or even months. That kind of compassion was something very few other species possessed. Humans didn't survive because we were the strongest. We survived because we trusted each other. We shared food. We shared knowledge. We learned from every mistake, and with every generation, we became a little smarter, a little stronger, and a little better at surviving. The Ice Age didn't just shape the human body, it shaped the human spirit. Every frozen winter, every empty stomach, every impossible choice helped build the civilization we live in today. So, the next time you sit down to enjoy a warm meal, remember this: thousands of years ago, someone risked everything just to make sure the next generation would live one more day, and maybe the greatest lesson our ancestors left behind isn't about survival, it's about never giving up. Because civilization wasn't built in palaces or great cities. It was built on frozen ground by ordinary people who refused to surrender. And that is why humanity survived the Ice Age.